You are listening to Integrity Radio. I'm your host, Lakeisha.
And I'm your co-host, Sandra Gage, President and CEO of IntegrityStewardship.com.
And we are talking about the education system.
Yes, the education system is something that we really need to talk about.
Everyone that has children in or has ever been in the education system has noticed a dramatic change over the last couple of years.
Yes, it's different from what it used to be. Today, it's more about technology, whereas in the past, you saw students lugging around a lot of books. Today, they are using these iPads and tablets instead of their books.
Yes, we're in a technology phase, but is that really a good thing or a bad thing?
It can be a good thing. I think that technology is here to stay, and it's probably going to be even more technology as we go along. So getting them used to the technology at an early age is probably going to prepare them for the next level of where we're going as far as changing of economy and changing of the way we do educational things.
So as far as extracurriculars, we've seen a lot of changes there too. As the economy goes more and more downward, more and more things get cut.
Yes, a lot of things get cut, and the first thing that goes is their activities to outside. They're more into what's going on today as far as classes inside because they don't have enough money or enough finances to handle the things that they want to do, the arts and crafts, music. One of the things that is not necessarily been cut, but I think should be added to extracurricular activities is the personal finance. Personal finance is something that should have been in our school systems from the beginning, and I have no idea why that is not added to our system. We have these kids going through 12 years of school, and when they get out of school, they do not understand how to balance a checkbook. They don't understand how credit works. So personal finance is an extracurriculum activity that we should add.
Not just that, but also teachers are suffering because they're either getting cut or they're not being paid what they should.
That's true. I've seen teachers on strike and teachers struggling trying to educate their kids, and then we have new requirements for our school system that if they don't pass our students with a certain reading average, the school is given a grade as not being the best schools to go to. And unfortunately, it's not necessarily the teacher's fault. But then again, there are probably teachers that are in our school system that probably should have never been teachers in the first place. They were just looking for a job, and that was the job that was open to them. But then you have teachers that you could tell that they really are all about educating students. If they don't have enough supplies or if they don't have the things that they need to educate the students in the way that they think they should be educated, they will go into their own pockets to provide that supply or that thing that is needed to educate that child.
Well, since it seems like the public school is failing, people are looking for alternatives to send their children to get the proper education they feel they deserve, whether it be online or charter schools.
Yes, I don't know that much about charter schools, but I think that charter schools are a good thing. I've heard a lot of people are sending their kids to charter schools. I think it's probably a cut above the public school system, not necessarily like a private school. But in regards to a brick and mortar school versus a virtual class, I think that virtual schools are good in some instances where you have these kids that are being abused in regards to bullying or violence in the schools or drugs that are being, instituted in the schools. I think that virtual schools could be a very good thing. Of course, the flip side of that is that virtual schools is probably lacking in the area of extracurricular activities, trips and things that the kids would go on. The lack of relationships that they could have with other students is missing.
So virtual schools are not only just for K through 12, but also college students as well.
Exactly. And that is one thing that I can personally say that I have enjoyed, because when I was going for my master's degree, I was able to go to a virtual college where I actually virtually on the computer was able to take all the classes that I needed to get my master's degree. It was just like being in the classroom. And when it was time for questions and they took a break, I was able to email in my questions. I was able to call in and ask my questions. And then when they came back from break, the teacher would respond online. So it was just like being there. And I did not actually step on campus until it was time for me to graduate. So a virtual college is a very good thing.
Yes, we could talk about our educational system for quite a while. If you have any questions or comments about the educational system that you'd like us to voice, please send your comments to questions@integritystewardship.com. Is there anything you want to add before we go to commercial?
Yes. I would like to invite everyone to go to IntegrityStewardship.com and check out my book, Destroying the Chains of Debt Forever, No Longer a Slave to the System.
We'll be right back. Do you have a question or topic that you would like to hear discussed on Integrity Radio? Send your emails to IntegrityRadio@IntegrityStewardship.com. We'd love to hear from you. You are listening to Integrity Radio. Visit us at IntegrityStewardship.com. We will be back shortly with more Integrity Radio. You are listening to Integrity Radio. I'm your host, Lakeisha.
And I'm your co-host, Sandra Gage, CEO and President of Integrity Stewardship Enterprise.
And we are talking about college student scholarship resources.
That's going to be a very interesting topic.
I agree. A lot of people are going to school right now and trying to find a way to pay for them. And the best way to pay for school is scholarships.
In addition to that, college tuition is rising. So a scholarship will surely help and keep you from using too many loans.
That's true.
One of the ways that you can tap into scholarship resources would be through high school. There are students that don't realize that their good grades can make them competitive to get scholarships when they graduate from high school.
What other ways can students find scholarships?
They can find scholarships through the library. Usually through the reference area at the library, they have books on scholarships that you can actually look at the fields that you're interested in and go through each one of those to find what type of scholarships are available. You can also check out scholarships online. There is a free scholarship database that's available online with over 1.5 million scholarships. The largest database, the most accurate database, and this scholarship database is called fastweb.com.
I've heard of that one before.
It's a very good database to check out.
Well, as a former college student, I also know that depending on what school you choose, each school has its own individual scholarships that they offer to students. So you might want to look into that as well.
Yes, colleges do have scholarships available if you're going to their school. Usually they have some kind of scholarship because they want to draw students to their university or college. And it depends on what field you want to go into, how many scholarships they may have available to you.
A lot of the scholarships are available to you, but a lot of them require you to fill out the FAFSA in order to apply for the scholarship.
Almost all the colleges require you to fill out that free form that you're talking about. And that kind of gives the schools an idea of what fields that you're interested in.
So what about religious organizations?
There are so many religious organizations out there, like Jewish community. They have their own scholarships that they put aside. The Baptist organizations probably have scholarships they put aside. Catholics have an organization that they put aside to help their congregation students get a better education.
That sounds fantastic. What if you're good in sports?
If you're good in sports, that would be the athletic organizations. Actually, they probably have scouters that'll go out and look at these kids if they're good at volleyball, basketball, football, and they recruit them to their colleges, often with a full scholarship.
So it sounds like anything that you're interested in, there might be a scholarship detailed just for that.
That's true. You really have to research it out to see what's out there. That's the problem, is that it's a lot more out there than we imagine, and immediately we go to student loans instead of searching for scholarships that we won't have to pay back.
So does this mean that it's just for kids that were in high school, or could this be for adults that are going back to school?
There's probably scholarships for adults going back to school as well. It just depends on that organization and how they set it up. There's a lot of philanthropists out there that set up scholarships as well for students. So it just depends on what the requirement. Every scholarship could have a different requirement. So you really have to check into each one to see if it meets the requirement, your situation meets the requirement.
So what you're saying is we need to get out there and do some research. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we go to commercial?
I would like to invite everyone to check out IntegrityStewardship.com. Also, check out my book, Destroying the Chains of Debt Forever, No Longer a Slave to the System. You will find out that there are ways of lowering your debt and making you be in a position to have the finances you need to go to the college of your choice.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Do you have a question or topic that you would like to hear discussed on Integrity Radio? Send your emails to IntegrityRadio@integritystewardship.com. We'd love to hear from you.